On the new vlog, I'm going to be talking about my dieting phase or recomp, anything that you'd like to call it, and where I think basically people go wrong. But I'm also going to speak just through how I'm going to set it up and what changes that I'll be making week to week depending on obviously body comp, weight, and if I get run over or not. Me and my new mate. Something I always personally do when I start a dieting phase is shave my beard off, because you know that knocks a few kilos off. Something I actually personally find a lot easier with a dieting phase than a gaining phase is the structure of how it's set out. So in a gaining phase, it can be quite difficult because you don't really have any set look you're aiming for. You're just looking to push body weight and logbook numbers up, along with obviously food and stuff like that. And that's the reason I've stopped pushing at the moment, just because my appetite has completely shot. So my appetite's completely gone. So a really good way to regain that is for me to just go into a tidy up phase. Now on a dieting phase, it is far easier for me because I know where I'm going, I know what I'm sort of aiming for, and I'll just pull them to that point. I'm not going to treat it like an actual comp prep or photo shoot prep where I'm dropping down to that percent body fat, but I'm just going to pull down to a point where my appetite starts to pull back, or come back, sorry, and my body composition is in a set place. Now I know where that is. If you're doing it yourself, you should know where you're aiming for, or if you've got a coach, they'll know. But I know exactly the look I need to be before I start then transitioning back into a long gaining phase into the new year. You always feel a bit better on a dieting phase, a little bit lighter, a little bit fitter, and you get to go for nice walks and stuff. The start position that I'm going to be doing, I will go into it in a second on the screen. So if you just keep watching, you'll see it there. As I showed you earlier in the other video, I'm going into a dieting phase, not treating it like a comp prep or anything like that, but I'm just going to pull down, get a bit better body comp, get my appetite back, and then I'll push back up. So this is our check-in sheet. Normally when clients do it, they will fill in everything. Obviously when I'm doing it for myself, I know where my energy levels are, etc. So I'll just do it in more of a loose variation, but I still use it to track everything. But if you have got any questions about this, if you look, just drop me a DM and I'll chat you through why we use it. My starting weight was 89.5 kilos, and that was last Friday when I do my check-in day, and I'll put my photos on the screen just now so you can see where my start position is. Not too bad, to be fair. I have leaned up a little bit over lockdown just due to calories being lower from not being as hungry, but that's where the starting position is. There's holding body fat really just around lower abs and lower back, which is normal for me. The weight throughout this week, as you can see, I've dropped roughly a kilo already. So from Friday to Friday, so my check-in day will be tomorrow, and then I put my days there. So I'm dropped already, but you've got to look at food in digestion. Food in your gut. There'll be less there. My water weight, and just from the slight drop in calories, your weight will always go down right at the start. I'm still training a push-pull leg split, so push-pull legs off, and then I do a upper lower. After that, it's different to what I would do in the gym. In the gym, I would do 2 days on, then have a rest day, but not as much load, so I don't need that. The steps and cardio you'll see on the next sheet, but this is just how I'm tracking everything. So I'm going to pull it down just exactly like I would with a client. As I start to see the data from my weight, what's happening on the calories, that's how I'll then change stuff up as we push forward. So with the calories, you'll see this here. Now again, I was on roughly averaging about 3,100 before I've came into this phase. Lower body days will be 2,900 calories. The upper body days will be 2,680, and then non-training day will be 2,500 basically. Now remember, what I'm doing with calories and stuff like that won't be applicable to yourself, but as we go through the weeks, I will show you where I make changes because I'll just pull things out from here. Again, I've not put in my intra-workout or my carbs around here, but there will be pre and post-workout carbs, there will be intra-workout carbs, and my post-workout meals will be, the 2 meals post-workout will be quite highly carb dense. That doesn't change when I diet. The steps per day, I'm just hitting 10,000, although I've actually been a little bit higher this week, just due to how much I'm moving. It's quite nice weather. I'm only starting on 60 minutes hit per week, which will be 2 sessions on the spin bike. That for me probably won't change for at least a month, I wouldn't think. I actually probably don't even need that in at the start, but I've just got it in because I was doing it on my maintenance phase anyway. The macros, this is roughly what I'm hitting. So protein stays the same across the week, about 215. That again, you could push up higher if you're going by 2.2 grams per kilo of body weight. I don't normally push it as high, just I think my digestion goes a little bit. Carbs are still relatively high, even on the non-training day. Fats are a little bit higher. I'm treating this with the nutrition. I'm not following a meal plan just because I've got a bit more time. I'm in the house all day, so I can be a bit more flexible with it. But I'm still treating it exactly like I would on any other phase. Highly nutrient-dense foods across every meal, making sure I've got a mixture of fruit and veg throughout every day. My only real foods that when you look at, you might think like, whoa, why is he eating that? Will be post-workout or pre-workout as well. I might have foods that are a little bit faster acting. With myself, I find that pre-workout carbs, I have to be careful just because obviously being diabetic, certain carbs will spike your blood sugar and it won't come back down for a while, and then my training performance is off. Post-workout, I can get away with just really any carb I want. So that's how I'm setting this all up. You'll see as we go through the weeks, I lean up rather fast in my front, but my back takes a while. So I would presume my photos from last week to the month prior, or post, sorry, you'll see a big change in the front. Not as enough that I would be like photo shoot ready, because that's not going to happen, but you will see a change, whereas on my back shot, you'll notice that that's where I hold most of my fat. So this is where looking at dieting phases has to be very careful, because people go two ways. They either get way too excited by their lean areas, so they'll be looking at areas that are leaner and get excited when they tighten up without looking at the areas that are a bit behind, or when people start dieting, they always look at the areas that are holding body fat. Now, when you're dieting down, say you hold the majority of your body fat around your lower abdomen, but if you're just looking at that area every time you check in, every time you look at your photos, you're going to get a bit bummed out. So don't look at that. You need to look at the whole picture. You need to look at everything across the board, where your weight's going down. You need to look at your adherence, and you also need to look at the positives, because your photos should be there to assess what's going well. Your coach should be doing the assessing and sort of looking at what needs changed. So this is how I'm setting everything up. This will be running for roughly 8 to 10 weeks, I would think. I might push a bit further, just depending on what happens with lockdown and the gyms, and also depends on how I'm looking and how I'm feeling. But this is everything here. If anyone's got any questions about it, just drop me a message. I can send you over why I do everything. This is what people do in vlogs, isn't it? They taste stuff. So I've actually never tasted either of these. This is a Grunt by Redcon. It's just an EAA. Tastes strange. Tiger's blood. Not sure what that's meant to be. This is the complete strength. Pre never tastes that good, but see what it's like just for you, because I'm sure everyone cares about my opinion. Doesn't really taste like much either, but I'll tell you what it's like once I've actually done my session. Done it wrong, so So here's a couple of quick tips for dieting. Now, if you're someone who's never dieted before but you're looking to do it, this will be really helpful. Or if you're someone who has dieted before but you don't feel like you've ever gotten the condition you want to, again, use these tips. So number one, take your time. And I say this to everyone. If you think it's going to take you 12 weeks to get in the condition you want to, it's probably going to take you 16 weeks. So people always, for some reason, if they've never dieted before, think it's a lot easier than it is. So give yourself enough time. The 20 weeks is normally what I'd set for people, just because that gives you enough time to be ready early. It also gives you enough time that, say, just for example, you have a really bad week where there's a lot of external stress going on, things like that. You've got time there. So make sure you've got enough time. Whatever you're dieting for, set out more time than you would think it takes you to get lean. So if it's 12 weeks, you think, then set out 16 weeks, so on and so forth. Some people will need diet for a lot longer as well. If you've never dieted to a stage of, dieted to a point of like getting in stage condition, it takes longer than you think. So if you've dieted and been lean, but you want to get stage lean, you will need a fair more amount of time. So set it up like that. Number two, you're not ready when you think you are. You're ready when you're ready. Now, what I mean by that is, personally, when I diet, my abs come in pretty fast, but my back doesn't. And I see this all the time where people, as soon as they start to see areas getting leaner, just take their foot off the gas, start taking loads of photos for Instagram. That's why you see people on stage that aren't that conditioned, because you're only as lean as your highest body fat body part. So for me, I know my back takes the longest to come in. So it doesn't matter how my front looks, it matters how my back looks. So make sure you're grafting right the way up till you step on stage, till you do your photo shoot, or whatever other reason you're dieting. Don't just take the foot off the gas when you start to see some veins, you start to get a little bit tighter through the midsection. Make sure you're focusing on the whole picture. Number three, don't try and fit crap into your diet. I have tried it before, dieting, and when I look back, I keep notes on all my stuff. There's a reason why my training wasn't efficient, because I was trying to reduce calories so I could have more shit in my diet. Now, you will see people on Instagram, I know, who diet and they eat a lot of flexible stuff when they're dieting for shows and stuff, but chances are they've dieted so many times that they know how to do it. Stick to a meal plan, stick to highly nutrient dense foods, because one, you're going to get more volume. Two, we know that nutrients are good for us. And three, you're going to perform better, you're going to digest better, you're going to sleep better. Don't try and fit stuff in there just because you can. Don't reward yourself, you're not a dog. Like, if you need to reward if you're dieting for a show and you feel like after you've had a good week, you need to reward yourself, you're not going to get very far. It's about sticking to the plan. So I see this a lot, and it's a question I get asked so much, like, oh, what treats would you fit into your diet when you're dieting? And I'm like, what? Like, that's not how you go about it. If you're going about it that way and you're trying to fit in, like, or trying to make all these weird protein snacks, don't. Just stick to normal foods that have good amount of nutrients per meal, and stick to foods you know that work for you. Don't try and mix up your diet all the time, because if your digestion starts going to shit when you're dieting, it's very difficult. The other thing, so number 4, this is again something I see a lot. You're getting leaner, you're not getting weaker. So yes, some numbers in your logbook will drop. So I know for me, any pressing motion, because I've just got less stability around my joint, will go down a little bit, but for the most part, you're trying to hold as much, maintain as much of your strength as you can in your logbook. And if you start to just instantly think every time you go in the gym, I'm lighter, so I'm weaker, it's not a recipe for success, because we need to do everything we can to hold the tissue we've got. So you really need to be really prioritizing everything you can to maintain your strength. So make sure you're still using your logbook. Make sure where you can take numbers and progress, do it. Make sure the stuff that's feeling a bit weaker, make sure you're doing everything you can to hold numbers. But for the most part, you have to train, like, because people change up the training. Whatever training you've done that's got you in shape will keep you in shape. So make sure you are not just changing it up like, oh, I'm getting leaner, so now I'm going to go from 6 to 8 reps up to 25. Don't do that. Just stick to the plan and still focus on the logbook. Now, if you've got any questions about any of that stuff, just drop me a DM on Instagram. My link is in the bio at the bottom. And if you've not had a look at our website, head over there as well. We've got some cool things happening at the moment. Again, it's in the bio at the bottom. If anyone's got any feedback for me, just any questions or just anything they want to chat about, drop me a message. I'd love to hear anything else you'd love to hear about on one of these vlogs.